Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hotel Dropouts. I'm joined by Bernard and Jamie, and we will be talking about zombie apocalypses. If you'd like to support us, you can check our Patreon or leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
You
All
know,
right.
like this thought just came to my head. We should really play like Project Zomboid to actually see how long we would survive.
But we did, I think, didn't we? For there
Yeah,
was like,
but I think it was just one day. Like we tried it once and then we realized like it was still so incomplete.
ah, well, I
Yeah.
remember we tried it for a little bit and then we stopped. But I personally stopped because I feel like it was a bit too not hard, but
It's
I didn't
fun.
you know how gameplay should usually be, you have an intense moment and then you have a moment of relief, and for
Yeah.
me that game felt like it's always an intense moment.
I mean, in a real zombie apocalypse, I also think it will just be constantly uncomfortable and intense, no?
Well, true.
I was annoyed by the
This
fact
is
that
my thoughts.
I had to watch the television for 10 minutes to level up a skill in Project Zomboid. And I just remember you guys were having so much fun going outside. You were screaming. You were like, "Oh, Dan, save me!" And then I was the only one at home watching TV in a video game.
That does sound kind of sad,
That was annoying.
but
Yeah,
was it
but
because
that's if you want to be like optimal gameplay. Well, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm sure there are
I,
settings
I
that you can
remember
do.
there's that saying. Sorry, I remember that there's somebody said like, given the opportunity, all gamers will optimize the fun out of anything, and it makes me think of that.
That is true.
that's what happens with me when I play games where with open world and there's a lot of side quests. I feel like I must go complete them because like the developer made them, they should be fun. But then I get overwhelmed. This is how I finished Cyberpunk, but the first time I tried it, I got overwhelmed by the side quest, and I was like, ah. Whenever I complete a side quest, two more appear, and I'm like, no.
No, but
Stop it.
it was the same for me. Like Cyberpunk, I had to finish the side quest, and I remember at one point I was so annoyed because I did a bunch of side quests, and then just when I thought I could get back to the main story, then there was like a event specific quest where you were like downtown by the market and you heard a woman scream, and then you have to go there to trigger the quest. And I was just like, oh, okay, I have another quest now. And then by the time I got back to the main quest, I was over leveled for everything.
Damn, you know,
But the
I
second
still
time
have not played Cyberpunk.
uh, the
Apparently,
second time I played, I just went whenever in whichever direction I wanted to. I got the DLC, the
oh,
Phantom.
Phantom Liberty with Idris Elba.
Yeah, but I never started the game again. I should finish it sometime because I
Uh,
enjoyed the first part.
I heard that the optimizations are much better.
Hmm.
Oh man, but I do miss the bug where you become naked and you T pose on a motorcycle. All right,
By the way, about bugs,
What specifically about that bug do you miss, Jamie?
what? Come on. No,
of
Dan.
course, the comic part of it.
Earlier Dan said zombie apocalypses. Well, how many types of apocalypse do you guys think there are?
Well, I mean, there are several different types of zombies, right? You got your slow and fast zombies. You have your smart and dumb zombies. Like depends on which kind of zombies. We have like everybody's infected, like the Walking Dead scenario where everybody's already infected. You just have to die to activate the
Mhm.
virus. Or you have it's like rabies. You get it transfers if you get bitten, kind of thing. And then there's the living undead kind of zombies where it's like zombical
Did you
magic.
did you just
And
say
then you got your
zombical?
yes, I came up with that word
That's
on
a
the
new
fly.
word.
And then you got your rabies kind of zombies where it's like it's a virus, and then now you got the a la The Last of Us, the fungal zombies, right?
Well,
Yeah.
which do you think is most likely? Because I feel like the ones from The Walking Dead, they're basically immortal. That you could be like completely decomposed, where it's just a little bit of muscles and mostly skeleton, and they're still alive. I don't know if that is likely. But then
For
if
I
me,
don't think so, because yeah, then
yeah, for me, it's important that it's more or less realistic. Of course, I get it. There are certain liberties they have to take to to make it work. But the closer it can be to something realistic, the more interesting for me it is to see it. And I feel like Last of Us so far felt like the most convincing.
really don't
yeah, because there are already fungal organisms out there that hijacks the nervous systems, right?
Yeah,
cordyceps.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but like in nature, the most that they can do is that it's very common on eusocial animals, it's like ants and wasps. And then
Mm.
they basically trick these insects to go to a certain place and do something. They don't necessarily
Yeah.
like take over, and then the insect continues to to act and feed. Whereas in, I don't know, in The Last of Us, like there are multiple stages, right? Like you have the human phase, and then eventually you have so much fungal growth. But that's more visually impressive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I
Uh,
get what you mean because I think that in nature, what it does is it makes it makes, for example, the ants get as high as it can,
Yeah.
and that way, when it starts to grow, it has an advantage.
Yeah, like the infection, the point of the infection was to spread, right? Is to pass on the fungus. Whereas I don't know, in humans, in The Last of Us, how exactly do you get infected?
I think it
I
was
mean,
only right,
I'm
right?
getting infected by like just how do you say? I'm getting okay, maybe infected is the wrong word, but like my body system is already reacting to plant spores, hay fever.
Yeah. You know what? What's not realistic, since it's mushrooms, they like they spread their spores when they want to uh create more mushrooms, and we can inhale them. And so, if we can get infected by this, that's how we should get infected.
Mm,
But in the like in the show, it's not like that. I think it was only through bite, right?
really? I forgot. I know that the Ellie, the girl, has some kind of immunity. It's been so long since I played the
To the
game.
spores. Yeah, I think you can get infected as well just by breathing it in.
Mm.
Ah, I didn't
Like
know.
if there's like a place like in the sewers where it's like a thick,
I feel
a
like
thick
what's
spore like cloud. I think you
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
I feel like what's way more likely that, because based on what we've seen with with COVID, is that an engineered virus that basically gives us human type rabies, like in 28 days.
Mm.
And so zombies, us like quote unquote zombies, would be very short lived, but we are completely hijacked by our adrenaline. We go into this frenzy mode, and we're incredibly dangerous.
Hmm.
The
Yeah,
it's
that
one of the
sounds.
28. I don't know if 28 years or 28 days or something or 28 weeks, but
Wasn't
it's
it?
like
Yeah,
where
weeks.
the guy saw the zombies come, and then he just like runs away and leaves the wife and the kids
Oh yeah, yeah,
back
yeah,
home.
yeah. I remember that scene.
I should watch it.
Funny
I
thing
don't think
is,
I really watched them.
I don't. I think I only saw the 28 nights or 28 days or
Days.
something.
Yeah, that's Days
They,
is the most
Scene.
popular, I think. Oh, I remember the first time I watched that, it was because before then we were kind of used to Resident Evil type of zombies, slow and just kind of creepy, where the fear factor comes from the fact that they're so numerous and they're always around. Whereas in 28 days,
Mhm.
it's so packed full of action. And then the first time I saw that, I was shitting myself. It was so scary. Okay, but
You
how
know, I'm gonna be honest. I know of these movies, but I don't think I've seen the 28 weeks one.
think there was 28 days and then weeks. I don't know if there's one where it's the month, 28 months. Don't know how many
I
sequels there
think
are.
I think there is maybe not a third film, but I think they want to make like a third film. But I'm not sure
Hmm.
though.
Okay, what about Train to Busan? Did you guys watch that?
I have not seen
Mm.
it.
So I think Train to Busan is more like rabies as well, where the people get really crazy. How would you survive in that? Okay, wait. Okay, there's some fun hypothetical
On a
questions.
train?
All right, if the zombies are, rabid and they're incredibly fast and dangerous, and it just happened, everything around you is crashing down. Um, you have to fight off the zombies as well as the humans. Who would you take with you, me or Dan?
Why do I have to choose one or the other? And you guys are so far away anyway.
I don't know. It would just be fun, I guess. Hmm.
I'd rather like to take both of you because there is strength in numbers. Why would I only pick one over the other?
Oh, that's very nice. Well, how about like what would you do when everything around you just crumbles? 'Cause that's something that when I was a kid I often think about. It's like what's the
I
smartest
mean,
thing to do?
I don't know if I'll be able to survive long, but if I do have a course of action, then it would be just to secure food and get away from the big cities, right? You gotta secure food ASAP, secure transport, and leave. Because staying, it's no good.
But
Yeah.
isn't most food in the city?
Sure.
Like
Wait.
Yeah,
like canned food.
yeah, but you can't stay too long. The longer you stay, it's just gonna get worse and worse. So at some point, the risk of getting food is outweighed by the risk of encountering a horde or something, right?
Hmm.
I would be more afraid of other people, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I keep thinking that if that something like that happens right now, I'm not really ready. All I can do is drive away somewhere, and I hope I'll find a place where I can stay. I guess you should go to the countryside and hope that some farmer will accept you as a worker, so you can live there and work and eat and protect that land.
But
do,
what if it's like the farmer, like in The Walking Dead, where they were like actually eating human meat?
Well, then it's fucked up. I guess you don't
Yeah.
sleep when the farmer is sleeping, and vice versa.
my
I mean, how would you feel if you find out that the food you've been eating was actually humans?
I think it doesn't sound good. Isn't it dangerous to eat human meat?
Yes, it is. Like you start to get the shakes and stuff.
wait, cooked or raw?
I mean, cooked, of
Cooked?
course.
Really? But what about those Indian tribes that are cannibals?
I wonder why that happens.
Because
Why
I thought that if you cook
why
them, it should be fine.
specifically human meat causes this?
I think there's like an enzyme in it.
I thought that was to do
Uh,
with raw human meat.
Is it?
I wonder, does it have the same effect on animals? Probably not. They can eat.
I
Um,
the enzymes get broken down if you cook them. So if you kill me and then you cook me and then you blend my meat, I should be safe to consume.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. You know what? If
I know that you cannot eat the brain because that's how there is this disease that you can get from that. I don't
really?
remember what's its name or what exactly was their effect, but they found out about it because there were these tribes. I don't remember in which part of the world, but there were these tribes where they would do cannibalism sometimes, and the men were higher status, so they would get the better part, and women would basically consume like whatever is left, which included brains. and
Huh.
they would get this sickness, and it would be very disproportionate for women. That's how they found out.
Is it because they consumed male brains?
And brains in general.
Oh wow. Hmm.
Are you trying to imply something
No, no,
there?
no. This reminds me of
Male brains.
can like I whenever it comes to eating humans, the cannibalism, it scares me to my core because I don't know if you guys remember, but if you're a millennial, you may know of a website called bestgore.com, and it's a very disturbing.
Is it like one of those websites where like it's like rotten.com and all this fucked up shit?
You can see some really dark stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Including the violence in the Middle East, where you see executions. And one of the most
Oh, is
disturbing,
that the one where the Chechen beheading videos or all that?
it would have everything. You could even find things that are from
Yeah, so it's along the lines of like Rotten
no. And
or Life Leak and stuff like
the
that. Then.
most disturbing thing that I saw was that because I was perusing on the website and me and my neighbor, my friend, we were just, curious kids. And so we would see these violence being, being performed by Westerners or Middle Easterners or Africans, and then we just feel like, oh, okay, thank goodness we haven't seen anything done by the Asians. Um, and then one post we found out that apparently there were scholars from my country that had traveled to parts of Africa where they could consume human beings. And it
What
was
the
just
fuck? Why?
I don't know how this is legal or possible, but it's the everyday university students with their professor, and you just see these vivid pictures being taken where they're dismembering the subject. But apparently the subject had already passed before they consumed them. Um, and you just see that the preparation of the food, quote unquote food, and everything. Oh my goodness, it was so disturbing. And I'm seeing these young, cutesy, nerdy little Asian girls, right? Recording everything, and then you see them eating. And from that, I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna touch this website anymore. It's so disturbing.
Wow,
What the fuck?
people are weird.
People are messed up, man.
I don't know.
All
You know,
right, but if an apocalypse happens, what are you going to do? Like your first actions?
I found the cheat code. I think I know what's the best course of action. First, you need to move to the south of the United States. You need to go to the town with the most amount of fat people, like obese people. Okay. Those are like
Oh
they're all
boy.
stuck on a mobility cart unless when they become a zombie they can still operate mobility carts, and then it's a Uno reverse and then it becomes extremely dangerous. But I don't know. I feel like if there's a zombie apocalypse,
Do zombies have cardio issues?
but they'll be so but they'll be so physically impaired to move, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to move to a place where the average person is fit. Like if you go to Japan, oh my goodness, you're in trouble. They
Would
kill.
you call them fit or would you call them just thin?
Um, thin, I guess, but thin zombies are more dangerous. No,
I guess so.
I
if
I
guess.
imagine fat zombies would be less dangerous just because they would be slower,
yeah,
Yeah.
because
like
they're
really
all
slow.
melee units, right? They're all dangerous up close, and you'd rather have one that moves slowly.
Exactly. So you
I'm
can
not
have like
prepared for a zombie apocalypse. I understood. I need to have like a backpack for me and my partner, and
what
I have to
you
get a
mean you
weapon.
don't just I think I'm okay with the weapon part, but I
You
think
don't say.
the problem is the loudness of a gun, right? Like if
Yeah.
you shoot one, then you probably have the issue where there will be more coming up.
Ah, yeah, true.
Yeah,
The
so
gun,
I'll probably I don't know. I think the gun would be like a really last resort.
a bow and
And
arrow. A gun would be useful against people because a bow and arrow
yeah,
against a person with a pistol would be pretty psyche.
What would be your
yeah.
weapon of choice? Your melee weapon?
Something long
I
so I
think
can keep my distance, I guess.
Like a pokey
yeah,
stick.
long and blunt. Because like
Blunt?
with sharp weapons, it gets stuck on the bone. Like
What if it's
Mm.
like
the
a
blade
spear?
might dull, get and or the blade might break. So like a good mace would be really good. Then you can like really crush the skull with each thing, like crack, crack.
But isn't a
You
mace
should
quite?
train like the ancient warriors where they get this mace and they spin it around.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking
Oh, the
about.
Morning Star, the one that has two flails.
No, I think Dan is talking about the wooden one, right?
I'm not sure what it is. I think the handle is wooden, but the top is metal because it's really heavy. I'm not sure even if it's a real mace. Maybe they have a specific mace for training, which is heavier. And what they do is they grab the stick and they kind of you take it, you go over your head and you spin it around your back,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
keep
yeah,
spinning it like that.
yeah. I've seen those videos where they got like super buffed up bodybuilders, and
Yeah,
they're like
they
they can't
tried
even
and they're
hold
like
it straight.
struggling, and then
Yeah,
this
and
guy
then
that
they
smaller, but he's used to this thing, so he can do it one
he's just
hand.
walking up. Yeah, exactly. He's like holding it up straight and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. I still feel like a spear is most practical.
I mean, I hope you're carrying more than just one.
I mean, like javelins, like to throw them.
No, but like, what if one spear breaks? Then you can use your backup spear, right?
Well, if the spear
Yeah, yeah.
breaks, it still kind of is a spear. Like you can use the broken.
Kinda, but then you're losing that distance.
That's true. I mean, you can just
Yeah.
keep breaking it off until it's no longer a spear.
Yeah, but like a spear, if you got to be really accurate in striking. Like,
That's true.
I mean, like you want to go for the head, right? In traditional media, all zombies are like, you got to hit them in the head before they die.
Isn't it more practical and time saving just to kind of like remove their legs somehow? Like just disable them. Like don't even waste your weapon on killing them. Just make sure they can't move.
How would you do that?
Uh like a bat, and then you just break one knee and they fall over.
Well, I mean, they're zombies. They can probably crawl pretty fast anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I was thinking, right? Like if you have a home defense base, right? If you have like a high tension string where you have maybe like a garage or some alleyway where you filter them through, and then this high tension string or something just like gets released and just goes through them, like that
Hmm.
But then wouldn't it be
I
like a big trouble if the strings get tangled and then you have to fix it?
is true. Yeah.
I thought a solution that doesn't involve killing in order to save time is you have a really big net, and if a big group is if a big group is approaching, you can throw it on them, and then they get stuck, and you
Oh
kind of
right,
can
yeah,
just
yeah.
run away.
Yeah. Not bad, not bad. Good one.
How
Like a
about
fishing net,
you
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
like the Roman gladiator? What was it called? The retiarius, the fisherman, like the one with the spear and net.
Yeah, yeah,
Would that
yeah.
be the most effective way? Like you just net something and then once it's trapped,
You
you can
spear
kill
'em.
it.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Hmm.
guess so. I wonder will it'll be complicated to get the net back because
Oh, it would, yeah.
Yeah, what if they're like smart zombies and they pretend to be dead and then you're trying to get the net back and then it bites your hand?
yeah.
Are zombies safe
I
if you
think
just remove the mandible? If you remove the entire lower jaw, like, are you safe? Are there any storylines
no,
where
because they can still scratch you.
oh, so you can get infected by scratches?
I mean, as long as like a body fluid enters you,
Mm.
like you got in during COVID where you put all those alcohol on your hands and you realize, oh shit, I got micro cuts everywhere.
Yeah.
Really? That's a thing? I didn't
But
know
you
that.
don't? Like on your fingernails and shit?
I don't.
Not always, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just vitamin deficient
Oh,
and doesn't, and I don't moisturize my hands enough.
Bernard applies that disinfectant and everywhere it hurts. And like, ah.
his boyfriend.
Sometimes, yeah, it's like a stinging pain, and you're like, oh.
I'm alive.
I know. I didn't really have that. I mean, if there's a cut, I can feel it, but usually I didn't. Interesting.
Nice, nice.
I feel like
I would check that.
out of the three of us, I think only Benny would have like a backpack, with gauze, with all the first aid stuff and rations,
Yeah.
and you
I
could pick it up and
I
just
do
leave.
have those.
You see, I knew it. I think I'm fine.
No,
Sure.
no.
I don't need it because I'm in Asia, so there are convenience stores everywhere. Like, I don't think people would even fight each other over resources just because we have so many franchise stores. They'll be like, yeah, just go to that one. Like, why rob me when you can find another store like 2 blocks down?
But wouldn't the stores be empty and then they would have to turn to robbing?
I think you know what
I would assume so.
I feel like in some countries, like maybe in Japan, I feel like people would work together.
You, you
I
think
know
so?
what you mean.
I think I
I
feel
also
like
feel like
I feel like they've been repressed so much that
Mhm.
their fucked up side is gonna be
I think
unleashed. You know what I mean?
okay,
finally I can stare people in the eyes and I don't have to be polite.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've been so
yeah,
oppressed.
I will bow 15 degrees instead of 90 degrees. But no, I feel like because in let's say in the States, because you can own weapons, so people
Mhm.
that are very paranoid would always be armed and they're more likely to be violent because they are capable. Whereas like in Taiwan, for example, we can't have weapons. So it's kind of an L to just be violent because then, everybody will gang up on you. So it's
But what if it's like unconventional weapons, like improvised weapons,
oh,
like
I think those are fine. Like
axes,
I think
hammers?
people draw the line at guns, I think.
You think so?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you're more optimistic than I am, then, I think.
Now, I am optimistic, but I think I'll make the same decision as you. I'll just get the fuck out, like run as far away as possible. Do you trust people?
Yeah.
Dan, do you trust people?
Um well I try to, but in this situation I would be skeptical, I guess.
Yeah, and then you're not alone. You got like a wife you got to look after too.
Yeah.
I somehow feel like
Make a
people
backpack.
I somehow feel like people will cooperate because I think back to World War II days when both the Germans and the British were bombing the shit out of each other. Um, the military strategy at the time was that you could just keep shelling a city in the case of London, just keep bombing the shit out of the town, and people will eventually get so scared that they would pressure the country to surrender. But that didn't happen, right? Like the Brits at the time just kind of got used to the shelling and got used to the bombs, and everybody just went about life as usual. And even though they persisted, they thought they would return the favor to the Nazis, so they decided to bomb Hamburg in the same way. And lo and behold, the Germans didn't break either. People were altruistic. People helped each other. If they don't have any shelter, so I feel
Yeah.
like we all have this tendency to think that people will be it would be disastrous. It'll be, survival of the fittest. But somehow I think in a zombie apocalypse, I think people are so excited by the idea that they can kill zombies, they will just work together.
I mean, they're just like releasing all the pent up frustrations in life.
Exactly. I don't know.
Well, I think there's a difference because in the situation you described, the government is still functioning. So you have
Yeah.
a society that is going through
That's true.
a hard event, but you still have that core, I guess.
Yeah, that society.
Do you trust your government in the case of a zombie apocalypse? I'm gonna put us on a list by the end of this podcast.
Oh,
I feel like maybe not that I don't trust, but I don't think they have enough. I don't think they're prepared enough for something like that, and I don't think they have enough power. Even if
how
yeah,
the hell do you even prepare for something like this? You know what I mean?
It's like a
I feel
pandemic,
like
no?
I feel like you have to. I feel like it would be very similar to a preparation for war or a pandemic. Yeah, actually, it would be a combination of both. I feel like
Yeah.
if you would have your city districts, they have a place where they can go to get shelter, where they have a place you have food prepared, like military food that you can store for years. You have enough of it so you can keep people fed for
And
a long time.
okay, here's the hard question then. How are they gonna be able to justify this to the public when it's like the tax spending? Yeah, we're gonna prepare for a zombie apocalypse.
No, I meant like we were going to prepare for any catastrophic event, a war.
Okay, if you can see it coming, right? But like, what
Uh,
if you can't? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, we had a pandemic, we had a war. Not so it's not too, you know, how would you say?
out
It's
of
not too unrealistic.
yeah.
And then, well, of course, nobody's going to say it's a preparation for a zombie apocalypse. Well, let's be honest. The chance of one is really low. But I feel like these preparations they all overlap
Mm,
significantly.
mm.
And a source of water, maybe just create wells
Oh my
that
goodness,
are
yeah.
not usually used during the day, or they can be a public well where you can fill up your bottle or drink. Like that
Yeah.
they have them right now also, but I think they're powered by the central like water system. But I was
Mhm.
thinking of something that is more like local. Even maybe a manual, like a pump.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to have one in like the garden house,
Yeah.
where it's just basically a really deep drilling, and you have a pump where you like push the lever.
How do you okay, isn't there a way to collect to just collect water for drinking? What was it? To collect rainwater and then you leave it out in the sun and then you let it evaporate, but then you capture the moisture on like a mesh net or something, and then you collect that to drink.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that
they
how
do
it's
that. Uh, yeah, I think you make something like a greenhouse, or a small one,
yeah.
and you make the top part of it have a concentration point where with the water when it evaporates, it gets on that top part, and then it all kind of goes in droplets and drop in the same spot, so you
Ah,
can collect it. And
okay,
that way, you basically boil water, but
right.
using the sun.
Well, but then you better pray that you're not in the UK then, like there's no sun. Oh
True,
my
true.
goodness, you need to be in
That
Asia to for that to work. Um, wait, okay. If imagine that like the three of us are trapped in an apocalypse, and then what's the main strategy? Do you feel like it makes more sense to raid, or do you think it makes more sense to kind of just ditch everything and then try and grow your own resources?
Unfortunately, I think you have to do both.
yeah, I think we'll have to do both.
Who would be okay if all hell breaks loose? Like, are you okay with killing innocent people?
No.
I think I'll take one for the team.
To kill that defenseless little young girl who has a
Hey,
dead
I don't want to do it, but like I rather put that burden on me than have the both of you. I just need you guys to like
Not
uh
judge you too hard.
not judge me too hard and like to mentally help me recover because it's gonna fuck me up, at the quiet moments.
Yeah.
I can just ask you to like to teabag the enemy and treat it like a video game.
What the fuck?
Well, it's a way of treating
I mean, it's different if it's like a situation I'm forced into where I have to harm somebody, right?
It's a young girl, and she has a Desert Eagle in her hands, and she's reloading the weapon as we speak. And you have one shot to take her
Yeah,
out.
but has she already tried to shoot us out of fear or out of malice? Like, are we in cover? You
No,
know, like
we already.
if she keeps on shooting, like, can we not just fuck off?
I'll give you the scenario. We raided a house. Well, we were trying to look. We were scavenging. We went into a house.
Okay, not
And
raid, but scavenging.
yeah, yeah. We went into
We
a
didn't
house.
know there was somebody in there. Yeah.
Exactly. And then
All
somebody
right.
bursted out of the closet, and your first instinct was that it has to be a zombie. You turn around, you whack it in the head. It turns out to be a mother, a single mother, and you accidentally killed her. And her daughter's on the
Oh
side.
fuck, that's already in itself fucked up.
Yeah, the daughter's on the side, and she is startled. She didn't even scream. Her eyes were all stoic, and she started to front to re like to load her weapon. She was going to kill you, and you don't have any ballistic weapons as well. You'll have to do it by hand. You need to dispose of her with a melee weapon. Would you do it?
How far am I away from this lady?
5 meters.
Like
You
oh,
could.
that's not far at all. Like
Yeah.
I'll just jump in for the gun and try to wrestle it off of her. Like, has she had the magazine in the gun already? Like,
Yes.
can I put my fingers like around the magazine to prevent it from fully going in?
No, she just has to like what's the word? Cock it. That's all she has to do. So you have enough
Oh
time to
fuck,
go
that's
in and take her out, but you don't have enough time to for a peaceful resolution. Even then, if you keep her alive, how is she gonna survive without her mother that you just killed?
Bernard will tell, now I'm your mother.
And you
oh
turned
wow,
mother.
that's a difficult situation, man.
I feel like you could keep her alive. Because Bernard killed her mother not because he's a vicious criminal, but because of accident.
Yeah, that's terrible, Bernard. Why would you do that? Okay, okay. I think realistically, I feel like a part of our brain will be turned off. I think it'll be so easy for us to take lives. Like what
Yeah,
once you
When
because
you're
you're
a
not.
teenager, I can imagine you won't have time to think about this stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
you're reacting based on muscle memory and survival instincts. You're not choosing, oh, I'm going to now stab this person. It's more like, oh, I'm in danger, I need to react. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
I feel like in the case of a zombie apocalypse, we're so accustomed to killing humanoid stuff, right? So it's not such a big departure to go from killing zombies to killing dangerous human beings. Like you already
Mm.
have a lot of practice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Whoa,
It kind of sucks though. Zombie apocalypse sucks.
yeah, this took a very depressing downturn.
Yeah, I want just normal society. Let's go back.
I don't know. Like, do you feel like don't you guys feel like the zombie genre has already been kind of like just completely explored? And it was only until Train to Busan that we had something to shake things up, and then The Last of Us. Do you feel like this
So
trend?
what was so special about Train to Busan again? Like, if you would help me jog my memory.
Oh, Train to Busan was that. Well, there's nothing too special about the zombies being rabid, but it's the speed of the transformation. I believe, like if you get bitten, it's almost instantaneous, and you become you go into this crazy frenzy. And it was, I think it was only exciting for people because of like how much of a thrill it is. You follow along the protagonist, and then the group of survivor. They have to, or they're on the train, and so it's this scenario. It's the scenario that makes it so interesting. Kind of like snakes on a plane, kind of thing.
I haven't watched either
Yeah,
of
me
the
neither.
movies, bro.
One of those movies that you hear about, but I fear that the zombie genre is going to die with us millennials.
Hmm.
There
Why?
won't be
Interesting.
there won't be another one. Did you guys see, like, did you see the trailers for, what was it? It was the new Resident Evil, limited series. Even in that, like, they completely stayed away from zombies. It was all just bioweapons, like zombie crocodiles, and there was a zombie caterpillar, I wanna say. Like, they go into the direction of monsters and not human zombies.
Hmm.
Maybe. I mean, um, what I mean, I still look forward to the zombie movies because, like, there's there was that trilogy, the Army of Thieves, Army of
Oh, that, yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, and there's I don't remember what the original one was. Army of something, Army of Zombies, Army of Dead.
You mean, the one with the, this really cute German guy who's, who cracks the
Yeah, exactly, that guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And basically, I'm looking forward to the third installment of that, and I don't know. Yeah,
I thought that the sequel had nothing to do with zombies. It was like a backstory about,
it was
about
a prequel.
oh,
It's
yeah,
called a
yeah.
prequel.
Right, right. It was a
Yeah,
prequel.
and it's about that guy, but it was cool, and it does have a little bit of a tie-in at the end.
Hmm. I don't remember if they hinted at like a zombie apocalypse at the end of that film. I thought it was kind of
I
like
think they did.
oh, okay.
Should watch all those movies.
I don't know.
I think you should.
Yeah.
There was another one that went concurrent with The Walking Dead. It was called Z Nation. And that one was more like
Oh yeah, yeah.
video game like zombie apocalypse. And I just feel like as a culture, we're done with it, you know? I don't think there'll be
You
any
think so?
more. I hope I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, that kind of sounds like it, to be honest. Because we did have a period where it was very popular. Bless you.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a period where it was like just everything was about zombies, right? But like
Mm.
I think if you still play your cards right, you can still revive, not revive the genre, but still do something interesting with it, you know?
True, true.
It'll be Resident Evil like remastered, maybe in 40 years.
Do you feel like maybe we won't have these distinct decades anymore?
Oh, that's so true.
Like
Yeah.
decades of zombie movies, decades of this.
Yeah, and not only about movies, but everything cultural, because it feels like you look at each decade, like 70s, 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
even
Even
2000s,
2000. 2000 was defined
even
by
2010, but then it's blurring, and I don't feel like there's anything really that different between 2010 and 2020.
uh
Well,
yeah,
I mean, 2020 is the decade of natural disasters, right?
and warfares.
2020 is the decade of shit.
That's true. I feel like I think the decades will still be defined, but it's always been defined many, many decades after. Like it's not we don't know
Yeah.
about it until couple of couple of decades after. I feel like
Sure.
we will come to know like the 2000s as the best economic boom that will ever exist. Right? You guys remember in the early 2000s before the financial crisis, people were very optimistic. They think that the economic prosperity was going to continue from this point onwards. Like we've cracked the code in 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 humanity, only to find
Yeah.
out everything falls apart very quickly after. Year 2000 will be known as prosperity. The 2010s would be the smartphone revolution, right?
Yeah.
And
They're roaring 2000s.
the the Apple 2010s. Oh my goodness. Did you guys see that the Apple I think lost the case against Epic Games where they basically took off the game because Epic Games wanted the players to buy the Fortnite V-Bucks on their website as opposed to through the Apple Store.
No,
I
because
I
they
keep
can earn
hearing
more
stories
profit.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but It's we were kind of afraid that if Apple won that, then all the games, all future games you're basically not allowed to buy in-game like microtransactions, from their own website, which would usually be cheaper, right? Because you need to pay like 30% tax for Apple.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, great news, I guess.
I feel like Apple's dominance is going to wane. Who do
I
you
feel like people
Sure.
should just not buy microtransactions because you're voting with your wallet. You're saying it's okay,
That's
and
true.
that's not okay.
Yeah.
Didn't the European Union come up with something where you were not allowed to label your microtransaction? Well, okay, you can still have like a microtransaction currency, like most common would be like diamonds, but you need to label each and everything that you sell with the real world equivalent amount of money.
Mm.
I don't know if that's been
Yeah,
enacted yet.
I'm not sure. I think I've heard something about this, but barely know anything about it. You know what? It made me remember. Steam now it forbids some stuff. Was it like in-game commercials? I think, and
Commercial. Uh,
something else. Like they straight out banned games for giving you content for watching commercials or something like that. I don't
Really?
remember exactly. But basically, somebody said that now you can't really sell mobile games on Steam because
That you cannot run ads.
yeah, something like that.
Wait, I'm confused. If you haven't
It's like a fake ad, like in GTA 5, like Pisswasser and stuff like that.
No, no,
Or-
not that kind.
if you have an Android, can you download video games through the Steam app? I thought it would all have to be like
I
either
don't
APK
know.
install or through the Google Store.
No, but by my mobile games, I meant like when somebody had a mobile game, but they ported to
Mm. Oh,
the
okay.
PC.
Yeah, yeah. Why would they do that though?
and
Because
also, like, wasn't there in that basketball game where they wanted to put like Pepsi ads into the game or something like that?
oh yeah, yeah, from a long time ago, it was what was it? It was a game about skateboarding, and because
Was it?
you
I thought it was like a basketball one.
Oh, I'm not sure. It was a game where you travel in a straight line. Well, you're racing, so you're always paying attention on the center parts of the screen. So they thought it was a good idea to put, ads on the in-game billboards that you pass by because you pay a lot of attention to them.
Hmm.
No, I feel like microtransactions don't. It's only gonna get worse until it's just completely gone. I don't know.
No, vote with your wallets. Say no.
Yeah, I guess the voting with your wallet is the most effective way.
Yeah, because if you just say no, but you still keep buying it, it's then it makes no difference.
I think there are just enough people with a lot of disposable income that can just sustain these game companies. It's kind of insane. Did you see that like the whole reason this model works is because there are enough whales. Have you seen those fake game ads where it's like you're on like three lanes and you're a group of soldiers and then you need to shoot down the three lanes and then there are barrels, you shoot it, you get upgrades. You seen those?
Oh yeah, I see those game ads all the time,
Yeah, and
like the
that
fake game
and
ads.
they're so shady with that because when you download the game, you don't have immediate access to that game mode, and then you realize there's like a mini game within that game where you can play what you saw on the ad, and it has no tie-in with the game whatsoever. Like it would be a game about building civilization, like like it's a management game.
I think I heard about that one. Yeah, it's like the soldier one, right?
Yeah, and it's so nasty. Like we've
With the
seen
blue hats and
And
stuff.
you've seen the ones where you swipe to remove a key, and then there's like a fluid simulation, and then like you swipe the wrong
I
key.
think I seen that one too. Yeah.
And then there's the one with solitaire, where it's a woman and you need to play cards in order to build her home because she's been divorced and casted out. They have the strangest like storyline. There was one where the woman is fat and curly hair, like she's all messed up. She's fat and ugly and pregnant, and you need to play solitaire in order to get her back in shape, and then remove the rival lady who stole her boyfriend and get back your boyfriend.
Okay, first of all, she shouldn't get back her boyfriend.
Mhm.
She should walk away from that kind of toxic relationship, you know?
It's just the strangest stuff, and I just
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then so the market has proven that deception and hefty microtransaction and significant boost to players who decide to play more. Like it's almost like free market is at work. Like it's only natural that we go towards this direction, and people pay for advantages, and the good old days of video game as art is gone. No
Oh
longer are
no,
we. I don't know.
no, I
No, but
don't think so. Wait,
that's
no.
the double A industry, right? That's like the indies that they are doing it as a passion project, and we don't have to buy like the giant triple A
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
exactly.
corporate
mean. I feel like
I
you know?
feel like today there are more and more times where a game that is technically pretty simple comes out, but they have an interesting combination of gameplay mechanics that hook people, and it becomes really popular, and they even earn a lot of money, even though there's no microtransactions. It's just like buy our game and play it as much as you want.
yeah,
I'm really happy that these things happen because, to be honest, lately this is mostly the only games I play because the regular triple A titles they often are pretty, like template made. They're
yeah.
all more or less the same.
Yeah, extraction
So like the
shooter.
point is that it's almost as if nowadays the only video game gems are from indie developers because uh
Yeah,
corporations are not fond of the idea that maybe this company could lose money for 3 years
corporations are not.
straight and then make $8 billion
Uh,
in 1 year because of one meteoric success. Because that's how game
yeah,
development.
why risk your income on a new IP
Yeah,
which you don't know will be working or not when you can just like do the same thing every year
mhm,
and get that investment back, right? With low input.
yeah,
I
and
get it from a business standpoint.
it also makes sense from the fundraising standpoint, right? As an investor, let's say if you're an investor, do you prefer to, let's say you'll make $5 million over 5 years? Do you prefer that you make 1 million per year? Every year it's a consistent 1 million bonus, or do you prefer that you lose 10 billion in the first 4 years and then the last year you make 15 million? Almost everybody as an investor likes they like consistency, they like stability, they like growth after
Wait,
growth.
your second option is you lose 10 billion and make 15
Oh, no,
million.
no, sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
You lose 10 billion and then you make 15 million at the last year. So in both cases you make 5 million.
Yeah, one is just
Yeah, of course, the
downwards
first one
and then
is
upwards. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
the first one is better.
yeah, so video game
But what if
development.
you say you can hire one person and he will work for very little money, and then bam, you have a hit that makes you millions.
That's how a lot of indie studios are hiring people. A lot of
Yeah,
people that have been fired from big game studios, I hear them talk about this, where they really want to join a bunch of talented creators. They all have passion, but it comes down to the very realistic problem of not having capital. And you know the
the
guy who
money.
invented Terraria? And then
Yeah.
the guy who made Schedule One. A lot of these people are like dirt poor. They literally they don't have money and they didn't get into this to make money. It's just a coincidence that something so good, like everything needs to line up. The game needs to be good and you need a bunch of traffic in terms of like word of mouth and attention. And then once you succeed, oh my goodness, you're a millionaire. You're a billionaire. I think the guy who made Terraria is like a billionaire now. And it's just such a big gamble. And I wonder if we could go back to a time where I don't even know how this would work, but people would just play games for the sake of games. And
Mm.
because if you remove microtransaction altogether, I feel like everybody wins. A lot of people play a game because they spend money, and then it's the sunk cost fallacy. They're like, oh my god, I've already spent money on this game, so I'm very less likely to try out new games next month because I've already invested in
Mhm.
this one. But if you remove all that, people just naturally move on from one game to another. We don't retain them. We just keep fostering new IPs. Wouldn't that be
Mm.
that would be nice? And then we can get back the golden age of video games, where everybody was competing to come up with the best story, the best campaign, the best art.
Just a fun game in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Well, we have indie games.
something I can
They're
sink my
kind
mind
of
into and
good.
escape reality from. Yeah,
And I've even seen like the game developers that need to be um like there's this indie game, I forgot which one, but they had a drama of body type A and a type 1 and type 2 versus male and female.
Hmm.
And it's only if you and you need to, like, if you double down on the not giving into what they call the woke nonsense, and then you have like a right leaning perspective, and then these big name streamers would showcase would demonstrate your game, like bring you so much revenue just because your political ideology aligned with theirs, and then your game
Yeah.
becomes a hit success. I've seen this happen. It's kind of insane.
I wish I wouldn't have to even think about it. I can just call it male and female, and nobody would get offended.
yeah,
Yeah, the I think Oblivion had that, the Oblivion remastered had this drama where they had to use a mod to change this, and then people were upset that the mod was taken down, and then people then became upset that there was a need for this mod in the first place.
And what was the mod? Just rename
everybody's just
it?
getting upset.
Yeah, it just changed the option of body type 1, type 2 to male and female.
My God, like how you have to be like I'm not really into woke stuff because I feel like there's a lot of toxic people that kind of turned the dial way too much up and made
Yeah,
it a ridiculous topic. But in some cases, but like I wouldn't like I don't care. Like I don't care.
It's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't care
scary for.
if it's called type one or like
My solution is that for most indie developers, avoid using language at all. Like, just keep your game super minimalistic. Everything is just
yeah.
icon, right? You just have an icon. But yeah, uh, I don't know. I miss the good old days of gaming. I want to get into game development, but it's such a big risk.
we're old. I wish I have ideas for games, but I'm not good enough, and I wish I would have enough money to hire someone to make my games.
Hmm.
Well, I mean,
You could go to
if you
China.
have the expendable income, like why not? You know?
Yeah, I get that, but I don't have one, so that's why I'm only
I,
thinking about it.
I saw this news somewhere. It was local news, but there was this I think it was a French woman who is a computer science graduate, and she got a job, and she was working that job. So she was a capable programmer, but then she didn't want to do the work, and she started putting ads in China where she looks for these programmers who have lost their jobs or maybe near the end of their tech career. So in case you didn't know already, in China, if you work in tech, you kind of run into a roadblock around the age of 35. Anyway, a lot of people lose their
What?
jobs at this point, and because there's
Why?
always new
Recruit?
blood. I forgot what was the exact reason, but it was something about where you in China, if you work in tech, you get this amount of pay. And when you get to 35, there is social expectation that you would rise to mid management. But then supply and demand, there's never that many need for middle managers in this case.
Yeah.
So they either leave the job or they just get fired. Anyway, and then so she she puts out an ad where she would marry them for citizenship if they did her work. And then there was this Chinese man who was just complaining on a documentary. He's like, "Oh, I did the work for 5 years." Can you imagine? Like just because she has a European passport. So that was my idea for you, Dan. Use your passport, seduce a Chinese man to make a video for you. I think
I have
You
an
just have to fish them. You hide the fact that you're a guy.
no, they don't even care. They don't even care. It's not about that at all. It's about the passport. So in this case,
Oh.
Bernard's passport would be even more powerful. I think Bernard's passport can at least
we
seduce 5
could
men.
have a whole dev team.
Yeah.
Hey, anybody out there wants to make my games for me for a chance at winning my passport?
No,
Imagine.
for a chance of winning marriage with you.
Well, basically that's the passport, right?
Yeah.
I just don't specify.
I had another idea. Jamie, me and you, we should move to a country where it's comfortable to live, but also it's cheap,
Oh, Georgia.
and live in a small, like in an apartment together, and
Mhm.
try to make our game.
Like
But
Georgia, no?
okay. But do you want it to be a politically stable country? Because usually, if it's cheap and nice, it's usually not so stable.
I only mentioned
Uh,
Georgia because like online creators are taxed at very low rates.
I know that now because there's a lot of people from Russia that left Russia, and many of them went to Georgia. The prices of living there went up.
Oh, why do the
I
Russians
think I
always
think
ruin
renting
everything?
an apartment is now there more expensive than it is here.
Oh my goodness, what? But Georgia's
Yeah.
not in the EU, right?
No.
It doesn't use the euro currency. That's insane. I think we only have one choice, Dan. It's Africa.
We can go to Central Europe, to somewhere like Serbia. I feel like I think the cost of living there is still lower than in Latvia, for example, and they have good weather, I think.
Yeah.
And then the question would be how politically stable you want the country to be, right?
What can you deal with? I can deal with riots, stampede, and people blowing up cars, pitchforks and torches, and riots at during protest. That's it. Anything above that is a little too much for me.
I guess so, the same. Because you're thinking about stuff that you can just kind of, if you sit at home, it's not
Yeah.
really impacting you.
And plus, you can get all the video game sound effects just from your house. Can you imagine? Just stick out like a really long camera, like a really long mic, like the ones in film production.
You actually see someone plant a bomb, but you don't tell anyone. You just leave a microphone there.
Yeah, you just
Like,
creep up the microphone out of your window, like so you can hear the beeping, like beep 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 beep. And then he turns around, it's like, whoa, what the fuck?
Oh my goodness. And plus, you get all the NPC
you wake
voice
up him.
lines. You can record all
Oh
the
boy.
NPC voice lines, and you know how like there's technology where you feed the AI system a snippet of the audio sample, and it can synthesize the voice completely.
Yeah.
It can
I
do that.
heard of that.
Yeah, that would be fun. We should do that one time for our podcast. So I'll record your voice, I'll synthesize it, and I'll just speak on your behalf.
Oh, interesting.
What?
It'd be very weird. But you'll
Uh,
speak in your like in your way, in your accent, I guess.
No.
In
You
your
type it out. You type it out. So it's synthesizing your voice.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'll have to say continue. I don't know. It's I don't know why, but it's really sexy the way you said the word continue. Can you say it again?
Me
Yeah.
continue.
No, you said continue. Like the ending particle sounded different.
Continue. Continue.
Ah, there we go. Yeah,
I don't remember saying continue, but there you go. Continue.
that's hot.
What kind of accent is that?
I have no idea. All right.
Eastern European.
Well, we were supposed to talk about zombie apocalypse.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I think we more or less reached the hour mark now. Anyway.
That's true. Yeah, it's 1 hour and 4
All
seconds.
right.
Shall we?
You wanna wrap this up?
Yeah.
Do you
yeah,
think you can survive a zombie apocalypse?
No fucking way. I'll
yeah.
be the first one
The
to die.
chances are really low.
Yeah, I think I'll die on the first day.
Yeah, between the three of us.
Very emotional. We're like, oh well, yeah, you can do that and that. Well, I guess you won't survive. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure I'll save the last bullet for myself. You know.
Who do you think would be the
Yeah.
tastiest out of us three?
What?
Like, if it's between the three of us and we're surrounded by zombies, who would they eat first?
Okay. I have a
The
meme
slowest ones?
saying who has the most fat, I guess, because you know how really good steak is really fatty.
But that's only because you cook it, though, right?
Ah, true.
So who has the most lean meat? Dan?
I think Dan.
Or you, Bernard.
Well,
What is the
No,
percentage of fat?
I
Dan
I
just
don't know.
overall
I
has
got
more
like a
mass.
bit of a belly.
Sorry, spoke at the same time. I didn't understand.
Oh, Benny
You go,
says
Jimmy.
he has a belly, but I said you have more mass. So I think you would be more delicious. And plus, I have a smoking history, so I think I'm not gonna be delicious.
But mass
Yeah.
doesn't mean deliciousness, no?
And also like
Hmm.
I got a tattoo. So and I heard like when a cannibal once said like tattoos make the meat taste weird.
Oh,
Not
to
delicious.
make a tattoo. So cannibals don't eat me and they're like, ah, shit. Yes, tattoos.
Oh, it ruined everything.
It's ruined. You fucking ruined it.
Right, guys, I think we should terminate here. Thank you guys for tuning in, listening. Check us out on Spotify or Patreon if you like. And goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Ciao.